The air tears in her lungs, each breath a shard of hot glass. Her bare feet, tough as old leather, pound against the cracked earth, kicking up plumes of ochre dust that cling to her sweat-slicked fur. Behind her, the sounds are a staccato nightmare. The dry clicking of sickle claws on stone, the high-pitched, bird-like chirps of a pack coordinating its kill. They are Deinonychus, the thinking knives of this prehistoric world, and they have marked her as meat. She is small, an Australopithecus female separated from her troop, a fleeting anomaly in an age ruled by giants. Panic gives her speed, but their relentless, intelligent pursuit is eating away at her stamina. The scrubland offers no cover, no treat or enough to provide sanctuary from these leaping assassins. Before her, a shape rises against the bruised sky, not a hill, but a mountain of flesh. It is the colossal, decaying body of an Argentinosaurus, a titan brought down by age or sickness days ago. The stench hits her like a physical blow, a wall of putrescence so thick she can taste it, but in that smell is a sliver of hope. A ragged wound, torn open by earlier, larger scavengers, gapes in the dinosaur's flank like the entrance to a cave. It is a desperate, disgusting choice, but the only one left. She does not hesitate. With a final, lung-bursting sprint, she scrambles up the leathery, sun-baked hind plunges into the dark, wet cavity. The transition is jarring. The blistering sun gives way to a slick, suffocating gloom. The sounds of the hunt are replaced by a low, buzzing hum of innumerable flies and the soft, squelching sounds of her own movement. She sinks ankle-deep into a slurry of liquefied organs and half-digested vegetation. The bones her. The massive ribs curve like the timbers of a sunken ship, draped in curtains of rotting muscle and sinew. This is her sanctuary, her tomb. She crawls deeper, away from the glaring light at the entrance, her heart hammering against her own ribs. Peering back through the jagged opening, she watches the Deinonychus pack arrive. They do not follow. They are patient predators, masters of the waiting game. When they run, they find spots in the shade cast by the great corpse, their terrible heads swiveling, their unblinking eyes fixed on the hole she disappeared into. They know she is trapped. They know she must eventually come out for water, for food, or be driven out by the festering decay. They settle in for the siege. A cold dread, far deeper than the simple fear of the chase, seeps into her. She has not escaped. She has merely exchanged a quick death for a slow one. This is life million years ago, a series of tightening traps. Her gaze drifts from the patient killers outside to the colossal skeleton surrounding her, the boneyard of unimaginable scale. They thought, cold and sharp as a shard of flint, forms in the terrified mind of one of our most distant human ancestors. If you find yourself in the belly of the beast, do you pray to the bones, or do you make them your blades? The first day is a fugue of thirst and fear. The world outside the rick beaches a aroma of death, framed by rotting flesh. The Deinonychus are a constant, menacing presence. They move with an unsettling efficiency, their shadows passing over the wound entrance. A recurring eclipse of hope. Inside, the heat is immense. A slow cooking miasma of decay. Time loses its shape, marked only by the deepening ache in her belly and the rasp in her throat. This is the brutal reality of prehistoric life. Survival is measured in hours, not days, by the second cycle of light. Desperation forces a change. Her gaze, once fixed on the enemy without, turns to the prison within. It is a cathedral of bones, a testament to a life on a scale her mind can barely comprehend. The skeleton is not just a cage, it is a resource. A moment of clarity cuts through the fog of dehydration. It is the dawn of primitive technology. Her first target is a shard of rib, splintered and sharp, lying half submerged in the organic sludge. She works it free, the jagged edge slicing into her palm. The pain is a grounding sensation, a reminder of her own fragile biology. With this crude knife, she begins to saw at a thick, rope-like tendons still clinging to the spinal column. The work is slow, exhausting, and nauseating. The stench of rot is a physical presence she has to push against. Each rasp of bone on sinew is a terrifying noise, a potential dinner bell for the patient killers outside. But the drive to act, to impose her will upon this dead giant, is stronger than her fear. This is a turning point in hominid history, a silent, stealthy birth of ingenuity. After what feels like an eternity, the tendon comes free. The long, elastic cord, she now has a binder. Her focus shifts to a set of smaller, flatter bones near the creature's belly. The gastronia, or belly ribs, they are thinner, more manageable. Using a larger, heavier vertebra as a hammer stone, she carefully strikes one, breaking off a long, dagger-like piece. The sound is a sharp crack that echoes inside the carcass. She freezes, her entire being focused on the entrance. Outside, one of the Deinonychus cocks its head. It's feathered from going still. It listens. She holds her breath until her lungs burn. After a tense moment, the raptor dismisses the sound and resumes its patient patrol. Exhaling slowly, she returns to her work, her movements now more deliberate. Softer, she has learned. She sharpens the point of the bone dagger against the rough interior of the massive pelvic girdle. Her first whetstone. The process is repeated. A longer spear point. A scraper to clean hides she will never have. This grim, stinking space is no longer just a prison. It has become a workshop. This is the genesis of osteodontokeratic technology, the first chapter of our species-long, bloody instruction manual on how to turn the world into a tool. Armed with these crude but effective ancient tools, a new kind of confidence, cold and hard, settles in her. She is no longer just hiding. She is preparing. The stalemate holds for another cycle of sun and shadow. Her crude tools are an extension of her will, but they cannot conjure water or disperse the patient circle of feathered death outside. The air inside the carcass grows fouler, the remaining flesh turning from rot to a simmering, black soup. She is weakening. The predators wait. This is the unpitying calculus of the prehistoric world. Then, the world changes. It begins not as a sound, but as a vibration, a deep, rhythmic tremor that travels from the soles of her feet up her spine. The ground is shaking. The buzz of the flies inside her prison changes pitch. An insectile shriek of alarm. Outside, the Deinonychus pack grows agitated. Their confident stillness shatters. They chirp and call to one another, their heads snapping up to stare at the horizon. No longer predators, but prey. A shadow falls over the land, so vast it seems to swallow the sun. The footsteps are now thunder, each one a physical impact that shakes the colossal ribs around her. A head appears over the horizon of the Argentinosaurus's back, a monstrous caricature of a lizard's skull. As long as she is tall, it is a Giganotosaurus, a tyrant lizard from a nightmare, its teeth like a row of railroad spikes. It dwarfs the carcass, the god of carnage drawn by the scent of decay. It rips 1,000-pound chunk of flesh and bone away, swallowing it in a single, convulsive gulp. This is not scavenging, this is demolition. The Giganotosaurus stares into the carcass with primal fury, its feeding frenzy a localized earthquake. The ribcage shudders violently, bones groaning under the strain. She is thrown about, a helpless passenger in a collapsing cathedral. But in the chaos, she sees it. On the far side of the carcass, a place he could not reach. The tyrant's violent feeding has torn a new hole, a fresh, ragged wound gaping open to the scrubland beyond. A door. It is a suicidal gamble. The space between her and that exit is a maelstrom of thrashing muscle, snapping bone, and the earth-shaking stomps of the feeding giant. The scattered Deinonychus are still a threat, panicked and unpredictable. She grips the bone spear she forged in the darkness, its point now slick with her own sweat. It is a pathetic talisman against such titanic forces, but it is hers. It is the proof that she did more than just wait to die. She makes her choice. In a single, fluid motion born of absolute desperation. She scrambles through the churning viscera and out the new opening, a tiny, fur-covered form emerging from the belly of one dead god into the shadow of a living one. She does not look back. She runs, a fleeting spectre of nascent humanity, leaving the monsters to their monstrous feast. She vanishes into the rocks and gullies, the sounds of the Titan's meal fading behind her. She carries no meat, only a burning thirst and the 2 pieces of sharpened bone that are now the most advanced technology on the planet. The story of this single Australopithecus, one of our most remote human ancestors, will never be recorded in any fossil. It is a ghost of an event, an unwitnessed turning point. Yet, the echo of her choice resonates across the eons. She did not simply endure her prison, she transformed it. She looked upon the architecture of her tomb and saw the blueprint for a toolbox. She faced the absolute power of the dinosaurs not with strength, but with a terrifying, desperate calculus, turning the violence of one predator into the key for her escape from another. This is the moment the script of human evolution was rewritten. It is the primal scene of our species' improbable ascent. A lone hominid, covered in filth and armed with a rib, deciding that the rules of nature were not laws, but merely challenges to be outthought. Her ordeal is a testament to the idea that true survival is not just the refusal to die, but the audacity to remake the world in order to live. For in the struggle against the impossible, we find the first draft of ourselves. But survival in a predator's shadow is one thing. What happens when the very sky becomes a hunting ground?